We'll wait just a second. Coach is coming. Okay. We'll begin this news conference with Dayton head coach Jim Jaber, student athletes Ali Malott, Andrea Hoover. Coach, would you start us with an opening statement?
Yeah, that was fun. Really proud of our guys. We competed, weren't intimidated. They're the best team in the country, bar none. And that was a lot of fun. Coach Auriemma is a great coach. I mean, he's got great players, I know that, but he gets them to play at such a high level. And for a long time, we hung around, and I couldn't be more proud. This was a great day.
Questions for the student athletes at this time. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Front row, right side, Doug.
Doug Farnberg, the AP. For both Ali and Andrea, I mean, first half, you guys are shooting the lights out. You're up 1 going to the break. What was going through your minds?
I mean, when you shoot 70% from the field, I think the game's going to be pretty close no matter what happens. It's hard to sustain for a whole game. But like Coach Jaber said, I think I'm really proud of our team because I think we went in there with no fear and we just battled the whole game. But they're just so good, and they had a run in the second half that kind of we didn't recover from, but I'm just really proud of our team today.
Yeah, in the beginning of the first half, I thought we did a great job really getting into the paint and kicking out for shooters. And I mean, we had open shots, and we were just knocking them down, and we didn't knock them down in the second half.
Questions, left side, front row, Jim.
Jim Fuller, New Haven Register. Ali, just talk that beginning of the second half. First half, you seemed to get the open looks from 3. Second half, it was a lot tougher. First open 3 was probably about 12 minutes to go. What did they do differently, or you do differently that made it tougher for you guys to get open 3s?
I think in the first half, like Andrea said, that a lot of the 3s were either out of transition or like penetration and kicks. The second half, I noticed like Tuck was face guarding me a little bit more, and they just didn't. I mean, it was a little harder to get open, but yeah.
Questions for the student athletes, front row, right side, Pat.
Pat Eaton from the AP. Can you both address what you're going to remember most about this run? Was there a moment tonight or a moment during these 2 games that you're going to take away from this?
I mean, definitely I think this team is so special, and I can't really describe what we have, but especially in the Kentucky game, just the fire that we had, the way we played with heart and really had no fear in the way we played. And it's just something that a lot of NCAA teams don't have. And even when we came out against UConn, we weren't afraid of them. I mean, we came out, we scored. We just really the difference of the game was the rebounding. If we just would have rebounded, we would have been in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said this a ton of times, but I'm just so proud to be on this team. Just all 4 games of this tournament, I think not a lot of people except us and the community of Dayton believed in us that we would make it this far. And we just had so much faith in ourselves and each other. And we persevered through a lot of different adversity that was thrown our way through all of the games, and so it's something that I'll remember the rest of my life, and I couldn't have asked for a better way to go out my senior year.
Right side, second row.
Could you describe the mood in the locker room at halftime? What was it like?
I was very upbeat, and we just made like our normal adjustments like any other game, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, it was just like any other game, really. Nothing really special.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that they were probably getting yelled at a little bit, and that we knew that they were going to come out firing and maybe go on a run, which they did. So we just kind of told each other to be prepared for that and to not let that affect how we're playing.
Third row, left side on the end.
Hi, Azar Johnson from NB Magazine. This is for Hoover and Mallet. If you could just explain, like, the feeling where a lot of teams coming into this bracket were expected to go far, but you guys seemed like the underdog and weren't expected to go far. Just talk about the feeling about how it feels to come so close to the Final Four and not reach that goal.
It's kind of a surreal feeling. Just knowing that if we would have won this game, we would be in the Final Four and going to Tampa. But, I mean, I think our team thrives on being the underdog, really. We love it. I mean, you know, having everyone against us, knowing, believing in us, that kind of thrives, puts a fire in our, and that's the way we played for the past 4 games. And that's the way we played, with heart and enthusiasm, and we just went out there and played our butts off.
All right, on the aisle, third row.
Yeah, Tom Archdeacon, Dayton. For both of you, why was it like a lot of teams come into UConn and just the name or something makes them wilt right at the start, and you guys, what was it that just made you go toe-to-toe with them, right?
I mean, we talked about that yesterday and today before the game, just how we can't let the name on the jersey affect our mental aspect of the game, and I think we all did a good job of not backing down and just going in and doing what we do, shoot the ball, and I think we did a good job in the first half of that.
I mean, the game is played so fast, you have no idea who you're playing at the time. Once they throw up the ball, it's just between our team and their team, and really we had paid no attention to what was the name on the front of their jersey. We just went out there and played with heart, and that's what we've been doing.
We have time for one more question for the student athletes, if there is one. Front row, right side, Pat.
You guys thrived the last couple games on the foul line. You didn't really get there much tonight. Was there something in the way they were playing defense, or were you just not trying to push it into them as much, or why was it that you think you didn't get to the foul line as much tonight?
They're very tall, and I don't think we did a very good job of pump faking and making them go for the shot fake and going into them. Yeah, but I thought that, you know, when we got good post-ups, we got good looks. Just for the guards, most of the time we were just kind of going to the rim like we usually do, except, I mean, they had probably about a ton of shot blocks, so we really needed to get them off their feet and go into them.
Okay, that's it for our student athletes. We will dismiss them at this time. And continue questions for Coach Jaber. Please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Front row, right side. Doug.
Hey, Coach, congrats on a really great season.
Thank you.
What was going through your mind? I mean, I don't know how much better you guys could have played in that first half on the offensive end, shooting 50-some-odd%, 70 from 3. What was going through your mind in those first 20 minutes and going to the locker room?
Well, I had to kind of calm myself down a little bit because I was pumped. I mean, we were getting shots, we were making buckets. You know, I felt like defensively, I would have liked to have seen us compete a little bit more on the boards, being more physical. But overall, I thought, okay, we're not going to be able to shoot it like this the second half probably, because I mean, it was just, we were on fire, and I know they were going to make adjustments, and so I was, as we walked into the locker room, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do we have to adjust to our offense, because they're going to make some changes, and that's what we talked about before going in, and sure enough, they adjusted. They started switching all ball screens, and you know, we had a really hard time getting open in the second half.
Question, left side, third row on the aisle.
I know it's a little early, Coach, but what can you take away from this defeat? As before you said when you faced UConn the first time, they were bigger, stronger, and faster. But this time you seem to hang in there with them all the way up to, I'd probably say, the middle of the second half. What can you take away from this to make yourself better to try to get to the Final Four next year?
Recruit better, I guess. It's it's amazing. I mean, you spend a half hour talking about Stewart, and then you got to spend a half hour talking about Tuck, and then you got to spend a half hour talking about somebody else, and they only give you 90 minutes, right? I mean, the shot clock, the time clock police at practice, or you touch a ball and it starts. There's not enough time. They got great players, and so I think the biggest thing is this. I don't want this to be the last time we do this. I want this to be a regular thing. I mean, we should aspire to be in the Elite Eight. We should work hard to recruit the kind of kids that'll keep us here. And I think that's the critical thing. I mean, I've said it before, I'm an average coach probably, but if you've got great players and you don't mess it up too bad, you could do great things. And I don't think I messed it up too bad. But so what we need to do is continue to find Ali Malats and Andrea Hoovers who want to maybe play the underdog role and beat Goliath and get back here. But we'll be back here. I can promise you we'll be back here.
Just as a note before we have our next question, the Dayton locker room is now open. Got about 16 minutes left, and the Connecticut locker room has opened and will be open for 30 minutes. We're going to go to the third row on the aisle.
Jim, the same question I asked Hoover and Malat. What was it that how did you get your team to not think about UConn on their shirts and all like that and just go out there and take it like it was some other team, or what was the secret?
Well, I mean, I got about 300 texts from people giving me suggestions about what to say. They put their shorts on the same way. They got the same body parts you guys got, and I mean, there's 1,000 of them, and we have smart kids, and they understand, at the end of the day, that they've got strengths and they've got weaknesses, and we try to exploit weaknesses and hide, their strengths, and so, I mean, our mantra all year is do what you do, because that's all you can control. So in the locker room, in preparation for this game 2 weeks ago, all we're talking about is do what you do. I mean, you got to go to Kentucky. Well, you can't sweat it. Just go do what you do. And that's what we told them today.
Front row on the aisle, Mike.
Jim, how do you think this kind of season and this run changes things for you? Like, do you think you can go into somebody's living room now and go, hey, did you see
Yeah.
Did you see what we just did?
Yeah. My phone, other than the texts giving me suggestions, a lot of recruits are calling us, calling me. Seems to be a ton of kids wanting to transfer, and we've gotten an inordinate number of those kind of things. So, it was funny. There's a kid we're recruiting. I called her 3 months ago and never got a response. Last night I got a phone call. It's just I would hope that the exposure helps us, and our society's built on perception, and everyone thinks that bigger is better. So let's go to a BCS school, let's go to a place that has football, let's go do this, do that, and there's nothing that we don't have. I mean, we charter, we have a great education, we play in a great arena. There's nothing that we can't do that they do. And I got to convince certain kids of that, and then we could be successful for a long time if we can do that.
Third row, middle of the aisle, right side. Thought you had a question. No, okay. Front row then, right side.
Jim, was there one moment or a couple moments during this run that you're going to take away that stick in your mind as kind of emblematic of what this team is?
I thought the whole first half is going to stay with me for a really long time. I was just so proud. You know, I've said this a couple of times, but I've been on Allie since the 8th grade to be more aggressive, and she's out there lighting it up in the first half against the best team in the country. And I mean, to watch the kids grow up in front of your eyes, that's an amazing feeling, and I couldn't be more proud. I guess the sense is just pride, you know. And I got to tell you, I really admire Coach Oriama. And when I was at Providence, that wasn't, you know, my best basketball experience, but I learned so much from a distance watching their program grow. I mean, I grew watching them, and I hired Carla Berube, who was on their first national championship team in Providence. And that poor girl, I mean, there wasn't a day where I was like, how do they do this? And how do they do that? And I mean, so like stuff like, you know, have your shirt tucked in at practice. Like if your teammate falls, you run and pick that kid up. Everybody runs and picks that kid up. There's a lot of staples that I really admire. And I learned, I think, how to build a culture. And hopefully we'll continue to grow and build. But just a ton of pride.
Right, left side, front row.
Tim Gaffney, Litchfield County Sports. Congratulations, Coach, on a
Thank you.
great year. As a college basketball coach, give us something on Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, just your appreciation of her.
She's such a great shooter. And she's so quick. And you know what? That's the obvious answer, but she's so smart. Like the way they use screens to get open and the angles they find. And I mean, we look like ping pong balls sometimes trying to defend some of their guys. And for as big as she is, she's really athletic and nimble and quick, and she got open. And they're just so intelligent. And she's she's actually a pretty good athlete who can just stroke it, and it's so nice and quick. And she's a tough guard. And you know, we made that a priority, but it was a lot easier to talk about than it was to execute.
Time for a couple more questions. We have one on the 5th row, right side on the aisle.
David Jablonski, Dayton Daily News. You have to say goodbye to players every year, but can you describe that moment when Andrea and Allie left the court for the last time and you hugged them as they left?
I told them I loved them. I told them that we were indebted to them, and that they'd always be Flyers, and I'd always be there for them in any way I could help them. I've got a great sense of indebtedness and gratitude to all 3 of our seniors. You know, we talk about leaving a legacy. You know, when I recruit them, the program should be better than when they got there, and they've left an incredible legacy at the University of Dayton.
Any additional questions for Coach? If not, thank you.
Thank you.